Hello students and anyone else who may be watching from home. My name is Mr. Borges, and today we're going to be doing an introduction to helping y'all get set up with TinkerCAD. TinkerCAD is a website that lets you do some 3D modeling, lets you create your own 3D designs and stuff like that, and we're going to be learning how to use it. You can export, in other words, your 3D models that you can create in TinkerCAD, you can use them, you can export them into, use them in other places. So you can use them in Minecraft, you can import them into Minecraft and use them there. You can export them and send them to a 3D printer and 3D print things. And it's a super handy thing. We're going to go ahead then and get started. So we're going to go ahead and go to TinkerCAD.com. When you navigate to TinkerCAD.com, we're going to go ahead and click the Join Now button here. Where it says Join Now. Okay, it's going to say, how are you going to be using TinkerCAD? I'm using it in school. You're going to be using it on your own. We're going to be joining a class. I have a class code set up for you. And I have a different class code for all of my classes. So you're going to go ahead and click where it says Students Join a Class. And then you're going to go ahead and type in here where it says type your class code. And you're going to have a class code that I'm providing for you. Now that class code is going to be different, right? So if you're in my first period class, you're going to have a different class code than if you're in my second period class than if you took this class last year, right? So I'll provide a code for you. If you're in the classroom right now, probably already actually have that code written up on the board for you or up on the TrueTouch screen on the big TV. If you are watching this video from home and you don't already know what that code is, please go ahead and take a look at your school email, your Gmail account that you can get in through the single sign-in, and I'll send you an email that has your class code, right? If you can't find it there, go ahead and send me a message or text me or message me through the school system, or you can ask me next time you do see me, assuming we're having classes in person when you're watching this. When I recorded this, we were having classes. We were doing remote learning. Alrighty, so you're going to enter that class code. Now, I actually am not going to type in a class code for you here, so you're not going to actually see that step. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to go ahead and log in as myself and then show you what the next steps would be there. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. There we go. The account that I already have set up. And you can have your computer remember your username and password if you like. That's just fine. It's going to ask you for an email. I strongly recommend that you use your school email to set this up. So you can check this box if you want to. Actually, I don't really want to get a bunch of email from these guys. So, right, strongly recommending that you use your school email, the same email that you would use if you were signing up through, if you're just, logging into Google Classroom or checking your email. So, when you first log in, you're going to have this first task that comes up. It's called Ready to Learn the Moves. If you do not see that, you may not see that depending on how you get in. I'm going to show you how you navigate to those first activities that we're going to be doing. So when you first log into TinkerCAD, you're going to have a view like this, or perhaps depending on what you're doing, right? You might have one of these other views. If you're on these different screens or whatever else, you might see something slightly different. But what we're going to do is we're going to have you click on the word Learn right here. So click on the word Learn. And when you do click on the word Learn, there's things that you can do. So there's starters and there's some starter activities in here. And I think that these are all great. And we're going to start out by doing some of these starter activities, right? But the very first one we're going to do, here is actually under Lessons. So go ahead and after you've clicked on Learn, you're going to go to Lessons. And the first 5 that we're going to do, so there's some lessons. I don't know why they put it way down here at the bottom, but you're going to click on See All Lessons and then scroll down to Learning the Moves. Here we go. So the first 5 activities that we're going to do are these first 5 right here. They used to be up at the top. I don't know why they moved it to the bottom. I couldn't tell you. So Learning the Moves, that's the one we're going to do first. And when you're finished, we're going to go on to do the next one. Camera controls, creating holes, scale, copy, and paste, keyring letters, and die on the work plane. And those are going to be listed in the Google Classroom, so you don't have to write that down. You don't have to remember that. It's going to be assigned in Google Classroom. Those are the ways that we're going to go. I'm going to go ahead and click on learning the moves, and that's what this video is. I'm just going to walk you through the first activity. So here we see our work plane. It's like this blue graph paper looking thing. That's where stuff happens, right? And over here we see learning the moves. Over here, there's going to be directions for you. You're going to have to read the directions, you guys. Like I realize that most of you are smart enough. That's not going to be a problem. You know how to read. You're going to be able to do that. But I can tell you that when my students get stuck, when they run into problems, when they raise their hand or send me a message and say, Mr. Borges, I don't know what to do, it's almost always because they didn't read these directions right over here. So don't be that guy. All right, here we go. Learning the moves. It says, let's learn to move shapes along the work plane. Right, and then there's this thing up here. This thing up here is important. It says 1 of 3. I'm on instruction 1 of 3. I can move along to the next one by clicking this little arrow over here. Now I'm on instruction 2 of 3. Right, if I ever want to move back and forth, I can click on this. I can go back to learning the moves if I need to. Those directions are right there. I can always go back and read those. Right, so here we go. Position the shape on the target. This orange thing right here, we call that the target. That's the place where TinkerCAD is. This is a little tutorial, and TinkerCAD wants you to put something on that target. They're trying to help you build something at the beginning when you're still learning what's going on, right? So it says here what we're going to do is we're going to drag the light brown construct to the area outlined in orange. Right, and then if that doesn't make sense to you, you're not sure what to do, you don't know what's going on, there's a little hint right here. It says to drag the shape, you're going to press and hold the left mouse button, the normal click button, while the cursor is over the shape. Then you're going to move your mouse so you can also left click the shape. Right, so right, you know how to move the mouse, you know how to left click, right? I think it's pretty straightforward, but the hint's always super helpful. Now you may notice that, hey, there's supposed to be this thing right here, and it isn't here, right? It seems like something maybe has gone wrong. I don't really know. So if you're in TinkerCAD, it happens. It just happened to me, right? If you're in TinkerCAD and it seems like something hasn't gone wrong with the way that it started, it's because I was in this tutorial before. That's the reason why. What you can do is you can always click to the end. Yeah, throw some stars. Okay, whatever else says congratulations. That's great. If you click one more, right? Now that I'm at the very end, it says lesson complete and all that. I do have a chance to reset this. So if I click reset right here, it says, are you sure you want to reset? I said, yeah, something went wrong. TinkerCAD, please reset my tutorial. And it'll go ahead and do that. And then there, we can see like, oh, all right, this looks way better. I can actually see the stuff that's supposed to be there now. It happens sometimes. Don't worry about it. Don't be afraid to just spam click to the end, click, 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 click to the very end, and then hit, I don't know why it's not there until the last page, then hit that reset button so that you can reset your tutorial if you need to. Right, so there we go. We're going to learn to move shapes in the work plane, right? It says just drag the light brown construction. There it is over here. We're going to just click on it. Now we can move it around, and we're going to move it to the area that's in orange. There we go. Right? Now, I'm going to use the mouse wheel to zoom in a little bit. And what I want you to see here is that it's actually really, I didn't do a very good job. So what I can do is I can pick it up again, and I can try to put it right on the target. Okay. One of the things I'm going to do then is I'm going to, instead of using the mouse now, I'm going to go to the arrow keys, and I can click back and forth and up and down, and I can try my best to get this where I want it to be, right on the target. And one of the things that you can see, and this happens in TinkerCAD, one of the things you can see is that I click one this way, click one that way. It's like I'm not really quite where I want to be. It's not like right exactly on the orange. And the reason why is because when I'm pushing up and down, it's the steps, the little steps that it's taking, the steps are too big. It snaps to here, snaps to there, snaps to there, snaps to there, and the snaps are too big. The steps are too big. There's a control for that right here at the bottom of the screen where it says Snap Grid. And this is something you're going to have to change from time to time, right? It controls how big the steps are. I'm taking steps that are 1 millimeter steps. That's too big. I'm going to change this to 0.1 millimeter steps. So I'm taking steps that are 10 times smaller. So now when I use the arrow key, I take a step. So and I'm taking much smaller steps now. And now I feel like that right there. I think that is it. Right on target. Okay. Part of what we're doing in TinkerCAD is this idea of, hey, I don't want you to feel like, hey, I'm being too picky or too bossy by trying to ask you to do a careful job. But part of what we're doing in TinkerCAD here is we're learning to work carefully. We're learning to make an effort to be precise, right? To attend to precision. And the idea is that, yeah, you know what? Things are going to turn out better, whatever it is that we're building, if we build it carefully. Right? Oh, it looks pretty good. I think I've done that thing. I'm going to go ahead and click next here. TinkerCAD throws some stars up in the air. Congratulations. Right? And then it tells you that you did it. Right? You're finished with this project. Okay. All right. So that's pretty good. I'm going to be able to see if you're working on this in class with me at this point. You would raise your hand and I would come around as soon as I'm able to and just take a quick peek at this and give you the thumbs up to say, hey, beautiful job, you did great. Or maybe let you know, hey, right, I think maybe you could do a little bit better. Let's do this, let's do that. Give you just a little guidance to help you have like a beautiful project. Because, right, the more careful that we are and the more we learn about these early projects, the better our other projects are going to turn out later on. Okay, if you're working on this from home, I am still going to be able to see your project. I'm just going to have to log in I'm going to have to log into my account separately and go back and see what projects kids are working on from home. But what I may do is I may ask you to just show me them when you do come back into class. If we're still in this period of doing coronavirus hybrid schooling where you aren't coming to school every day. So that's the first project here on TinkerCAD. We're pretty much done, but I want to say one more thing about it. And what that is I'm just going to go ahead and reset this one time. If you're paying attention, you already saw what it is that I'm about to show you. But here we go. I'm going to reset this, and I do want to show you something, right? I'm not going to follow directions. I'm just going to spam this to the end. Here we go, the last page. Boom! TinkerCAD throws stars up in the air, and that means that I must be a good engineer, right? That I did a good job, and I just want to make sure everybody understands it doesn't work that way. TinkerCAD is not smart. TinkerCAD's not throwing stars because you did it right. TinkerCAD doesn't know if you did it right or not. TinkerCAD just always throws stars on the last page, which is kind of silly, really? And that's why it's important that you raise your hand and that I can come around and check that you actually did it correctly, because TinkerCAD is not checking if you did it correctly. You got to know that. Throwing stars does not mean anything, except that you're on the last page. Who cares, really, right? What we're going to do is double check that things went well, and that's why you got to raise your hand, and I'll come around and check it out. Right? Then for the first 5, you can see the next one. It says camera controls. You're just going to go ahead and click continue here. And it's going to take you on to the next of those first 5 that we talked about. And I will give a list of those first 5, right? So this one right here is camera control. This project is pretty straightforward, but you're going to read the directions over here and get an idea of how to use the mouse, how to use the different buttons to change your view, to see what's behind the curtain and stuff like that. Once you have followed those directions, once again, you'll raise your hand. I'll come around and check it out. So, right? Most of TinkerCAD is pretty self-explanatory. Future videos are going to be less me talking about how to do different things and just trying to show you what you should see at the end if you've done it correctly, so that way, if you're working on it from home, you'll be able to continue to make progress on days that you don't see me in person. All right, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.